everyone. My name is Megan Rebello, and I'm the Communications Coordinator for the Wildlife Conservation Society. In this presentation, I will talk about our plans to expand our educational program to increase conservation efforts around the world. In this presentation, I will touch on the background of our organization as well as our mission, current conservation projects, areas and wildlife we are currently trying to protect, the importance of education on conservation, the details regarding our educational expansion project, the funding we will use, the timeline and cost of our project, and the benefits and risks associated with the project. Starting with the background of our organization, the Wildlife Conservation Society was founded in 1895 with three main goals: to open a zoological park, to promote the study of zoology, and to preserve wildlife. We currently focus on protecting and conserving vulnerable and endangered wildlife across the globe, specifically in 14 priority regions. We work to discover and understand the natural world to help protect it, as well as work to inspire and educate indigenous people, cultures in numerous places around the world in need of conservation. We also provide grants and scholarships to build a future network of conservation leaders. Our mission is to conserve wildlife around the globe in our 14 priority regions where over 50% of the world's biodiversity reside. The Wildlife Conservation Society hopes to save wildlife in wild places globally through science, conservation, education, and inspiring people worldwide to value nature and its importance in beauty. Our future goals are to develop healthy lands and seas that thrive, as well as build a network of societies that work to conserve and appreciate their environment. Current conservation projects that we are currently working on include combating wildlife trafficking, which includes stopping poaching and blocking traffic across transit routes and reduce demand for wildlife and wildlife products. We also invest in combating disease, as well as working with local fisheries to sustain fish populations, ensuring sustainable wildlife management, making lasting connections with people on a global scale, and working to address climate change. We currently have 14 priority regions that we work to educate and conserve, and some examples of those are Mesoamerica, Patagonia, the Rocky Mountains, and Inner Asia. Some priority wildlife we are trying to save in our 14 priority regions include animals like condors, coral reefs, lions, variety of sharks, variety of whales, cheetahs, and gibbons. The importance of education surrounding conservation globally involve many factors. To increase our chances of improving conservation around the globe, we need to educate people, especially in low privilege areas where education may not be noted or people are not aware of problems associated with climate change and other factors affecting their areas. What we can use education to improve around the globe is water and air quality, sustainable populations of wildlife, reducing fossil fuel emissions, reducing pollution, and spreading knowledge and appreciation for wildlife in nature. For our education expansion project, we are looking to fill new positions on our conservation team to increase education, knowledge, and research globally. We also are working in areas of poverty to expand their knowledge on climate change, reducing human effects to the environment in ways to increase their quality of life. We are going to work with low-income families who will receive incentives in exchange for conservation efforts, such as pollution reduction, cleanups, sustainable fishing and hunting practices, and just the appreciation and knowledge of the environment. These incentives could include things like food, blankets, hygiene products, and anything they may need. Teams will be made up and assigned a region where we will work with them in 3 different areas in each region every year. Teams include a project manager, environmental biologists and ecologists, conservation coordinators, and interpreters if they are needed in each region. New areas expanding from our 14 priority regions will be considered to expand environmental knowledge and increase global conservation. Our funding will be used for salary purposes of our new hires and their traveling expenses. We also need funding for the incentives that we will provide to low-income families, including food, blankets, clothing, and hygiene products. The timeline of our project will be about 2 to 5 years, so we can grasp how well we are doing with conservation and how our education has changed to better the environment. And our cost will be approximately 1.5 million, as we need to provide travel expenses and salaries for many groups of people around each of our regions, as well as expanding beyond our 14 priority regions and focusing on other areas. With every project comes risks and benefits. The risk associated with our educational expansion program involve sick and injured team members while they are in their current region. Members will be assigned and monitored, and duties will be altered to other team members by the project manager to limit the impact of the mission. Another risk involves potential dangers in the working area. This can involve dangerous people, dangerous wildlife, or just feeling unsafe in an area. This also could include weather and other different emergencies. But every team will have emergency protocols that will be put in place, and contacts for hospitals and shelters will be given to each team for each specific area they are working in. Benefits associated with the program involve making better connections with various cultures and regions, allowing them to appreciate their neighboring areas and wildlife. And also, we will be able to research regions and wildlife that will help further conservation efforts. This is my resource list. Thank you everyone for listening. Please ask me any questions you have.